emergency?
An ambulance.
Ambulance.
Hello,
Ambulance
hi.
service.
I
Is
need...
the patient breathing?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Are you calling about yourself?
Yeah, all by
Okay. What?
myself.
Is there any serious bleeding?
Yeah, loads of it.
What's the address of the emergency, please?
Hello. I'm
What's
sorry.
the...
Sorry. She's having an episode.
Just tell me exactly what's happened.
Because of a crisis that she had following an attack. She's going through a relapse. She thinks they're due to be released soon.
Teenager Gaia Pope had struggled with health issues before she died. Police are treating the 19-year-old's death as unexplained.
Her clothes were just kind of like sprinkled. Her knickers to underwear. It made my stomach churn.
What drove Gaia to that cliff top? What was she running from? Who was she running from?
Gaia died of hypothermia. What led to her death has remained a mystery.
She was shouting, "I've been raped. I want somebody to hear me."
He knew that Gaia had reported him for rape. She felt like he was coming to get her. Gaia was terrified.
I've been thinking about why Gaia was so fearful in those final months of her life, when Connor Hayes had already been found guilty of child sex offences. Connor Hayes was convicted of having sex with a teenage girl and posting it online. According to these court reports, Connor Hayes pled guilty in December 2016, but he wasn't sentenced to prison until the following April. So essentially, Connor Hayes is out on bail, walking the streets. Gaia has accused him of rape and is left living in fear of him for months.
Connor Hayes tried to contact Gaia again on social media.
The message was inherently threatening. She realised how easily still he could touch her life and tried to get a restraining order.
The police said he didn't meet the threshold for harassment and that there was nothing they could do. This triggered a crisis, put her right back into the nightmare. She felt like no one cared about her, and she felt like he was coming to get her.
With Connor Hayes still on bail, Gaia's sisters say she barely left the family home.
There's no way that we could comfort her. It was her shutting down that was really hard to see. I think it's the fear, isn't it, that made her shut down.
I spent a night with her in bed, and I felt like I was holding like an animal that had just been hit by a car. The shaking, I could feel her heart rate, and she was just absolutely terrified.
At college, Gaia's close friend Mara was the person she turned to.
We used to come out this way walking a lot. There's a little river over here that we used to go and sit by. This just brings back a lot of memories of us just going on the walks in the woods. A lot of wet shoes. Guy would always talk to me if she wasn't having a good time, but it wasn't really until towards the end of college that it started deteriorating quite fast. She told me that she had been raped. I went through a rape myself when I was 16. And me and Gaia were in the same boat because the police make you believe you're going to be protected. And unfortunately for myself and Gaia, that wasn't the case. My perpetrator came up to me when he was on bail twice, and the police, they did nothing. They didn't arrest him or anything. I was really struggling, as was Gaia. Anything could have tipped either one of us over the edge at any given time.
Within weeks, Gaia was in hospital, sectioned under the Mental Health Act for her own safety. It was another 2 months before Connor Hayes was finally jailed for child sex offences.
Two men from Dorset have been sent to prison for filming themselves having sex with a teenage girl and then publishing the video on the internet. The pair have been jailed for 2 years for the offence, which dates back to November 2015.
The sentence wasn't long enough. She was frightened.
We knew that he was likely to serve only half of the sentence that he was given.
Gaia worked out when he was going to be released. From that point on, it was just a countdown to no longer being safe.
It was a ticking time bomb.
I got a call from my sister, Gaia's mum, because Gaia had gone into mental health crisis again. When we got to the hospital, Gaia was very, very hyper. She was pacing up and down, and she was shouting and calling, "I've been raped. I want somebody to hear me," over and over and over again. And everybody responded like they couldn't hear anything. She was just blanked.
She was standing on chairs, screaming about the rape, crying on the floor in a state of high distress in the middle of the night for hours and hours and hours. Then by the time they finally assessed her, she was sedated, severely sleep deprived, on the basis of which they decided she did not need any care by community mental health services. We've been begging, begging, begging for more support. She's gonna die if you don't do something.
Good afternoon, Dorset, please. Can I take your name from you, please?
Yeah, it's Gaia Pope. I'm 19 years old,
okay.
And someone added me on Facebook. He started trying to flirt with me.
Gaia didn't know who this man was. She didn't know where he had come from.
And then he sent me a picture of his penis. And I said, do not send me another one. And he sent me another one. So I've actually had a sexual assault before. And having gone to the police then to speak about it, I know what's criminal and what isn't.
I'm going to try and get someone to come out and see you. I just can't guarantee when, okay?
When she received the indecent images, She was spiralling and there were loads of thoughts running through her head. She just said, "What the fuck," over and over and over again.
With everything that was already going on with Connor Hayes, just having something else thrown in there, it just amplified the emotions that she was already feeling. Everywhere that she was looking, she saw sexual assault.
So I'm looking back at Gaia's social media and the kinds of things that she was posting in those last few days of her life. When I looked for the first time a year ago, I didn't fully understand why she was talking so much about sexual assault and paedophiles. But now it's all starting to really make sense. I can truly understand why receiving that dick pic on that day just sent her into a complete downward spiral. Regardless of whether this is something physical that happens or whether it's online, it's still a violation. It's still without consent. Gaia also had no idea who this person was that was sending her the unsolicited images. Her family say she believed it was someone connected with Connor Hayes. In fact, he was still in jail, but his release was imminent.
The inquest into the death of Gaia Pope begins 4 years after her body was found on Dorset cliff tops. The teenager was agitated the day she went missing.
Gaia's inquest is finally due to open. It will look into exactly when and how Gaia died and what could have caused her death. But with just hours until it begins, the coroner has announced that Gaia's alleged rape will not be considered, only its impact on her mental health.
It's been a stressful couple of days. So awful, because every 10 minutes I find out something that I didn't know before. A lot of stuff's been disclosed very late in the process, so there's still regular shocks and oh my god, how is this possible moments.
Do you feel like you're kind of putting your grief is going into that, no, I want to make a change, I want to make a difference here, like something needs to happen?
Yes. Anyone who lost someone they loved that much in a way like that would want justice.
I'm concerned about the effect the inquest will have on the family.
How are you guys?
Especially Gaia's twin sister, Maya.
We've really wanted this time to come. We've not really had a chance to think about all of the good memories, and
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Sorry.
Yes, it is very nearly 4.5 years since Gaia Pope's tragic death on the Dorset coast. Her family and friends are attending the inquest here in Bournemouth. Now, the inquest will look at the actions of Dorset police during the search for Gaia. Back to you in the studio.
Almost as soon as the inquest gets underway, news breaks that a whistleblower has revealed that Gaia had spoken to the police on the day she went missing.
Police have apologised after details of telephone calls made to them by teenager Gaia Pope were only recently submitted to the Dorset coroner. On the day she went missing, Gaia had been trying to speak with police to discuss inappropriate material she'd received on social media.
The police have never admitted that these calls existed until now.
Thanks for coming to pick me up.
It's all right. It's the first time the family has heard them.
Good morning, Dorset, please. How can I direct your call?
Gaia is my niece. She's a rape survivor. She needs to relate some more evidence in connection with a paedophile. She's in a dreadful state at the moment.
Just bear with me one moment. I've got a Talia Hope on the line regarding her niece, Gaia.
I have no idea what you're on about. Talia Hope?
Yeah.
I think she's got the number wrong.
Okay. Hello, Dorset Police Inquiries.
Hello?
Hi there, you alright?
No, going now. Right now. I've been waiting a long time. I tapped the lead on my belly when she was falling. My niece, Gaia, somebody needs to hear her today. I'm not getting anywhere.
You can hear at this point, your mum is just at the end of her tether with it all.
For Gaia, because you can hear in the background, right, she's there, to have to listen over and over and over again to them starting from scratch, that would have been so devastating and frightening for her.
And you can hear Gaia needs that sense of urgency.
She says it right now.
Yeah.
I need to go right now.
Go ahead.
Right, I've got a Talia Pope on the phone.
Right. This is the fifth call I've had. The last call they started talking absolute rubbish. I told them I have no idea who they are, what they're on about. So I decided at that point to hang up.
Okay.
I've asked Control not to put any more calls through to me because I think they're taking the piss, to be honest.
What hits me the most is when he says, I've had so many calls from this family today.
I absolutely believe that that would have pushed her into danger, into a dangerous crisis.
After Talia gets nowhere with the police, Gaia calls the emergency services herself.
Emergency.
An ambulance.
Ambulance.
Hello,
Ambulance
hi.
service.
I
Is
need...
the patient breathing?
Sorry, yeah, I'm definitely... I don't know if I'm pregnant. My wee is so cloudy.
Okay. Is there any serious bleeding?
Yeah, loads of it, and it's drying so quick.
Okay. What's the address of the emergency, please?
Hello, I'm
What's
sorry.
the...
Sorry. She's having an episode because of a crisis that she had following an attack. She thinks they're due to be released soon.
These calls are essentially Gaia's final moments. This is just over 90 minutes before she disappears.
As you say, 90 minutes before she disappeared. It's why she disappeared.
As the inquest unfolds, I'm starting to understand what happened in Gaia's final hours. This is the house that Gaia ran from on that day that she disappeared. The last place that Gaia was seen by her family alive. She ran out of that front door frantic and scared. I don't think she even knew where she was going to go next. I think she just ran. Gaia was captured on CCTV running up this road towards the house belonging to Rosemary, the grandmother of her childhood friend Nathan. She's banging on the door frantically, asking and looking for Nathan.
Bang, bang, bang on the door. Help. Pounding.
I don't think Gaia quite knew what was real and what wasn't real at this point, but the fact that she ran to this place, searching for someone she hadn't seen in so many years, it just shows what she was feeling inside. She's fearful, she's confused, she's angry, she's longing for someone to take it away. The inquest has been looking into Gaia's state of mind as she ran to Dancing Ledge. Many of the answers lie in confidential medical records.
Hi, Dr. Denman. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Dr. Chess Denman, an expert witness at the inquest, has been given access to them, as well as details of Gaia's rape allegation.
Gaia left behind her the traces of her life in the form of her medical records. And so when I started to review her case, I had the medical records and I had the witness statements of her family.
What exactly is your assessment of Gaia's mental health?
She'd suffered a seriously traumatic rape, and as a result of that, she developed post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a condition with a range of symptoms. She had nightmares about what had happened to her. She had flashbacks, which are intrusive memories where you start to recall what happened to you and you're so in the moment that you can't actually get out of the memory and shake yourself out of it. She had panic attacks. But then on top of that, she's frightened to go out. She worries that she might be assaulted.
Dr. Denman has listened to the calls Gaia made on the day she went missing.
I don't know if I'm pregnant. My wee is so cloudy.
Is there any serious bleeding?
Yeah, loads of it.
I wonder what Gaia's 999 call, just 90 minutes before she disappeared, can tell her.
So in this call, Gaia seems adamant that she's bleeding and she could be pregnant. Why would she have been having these thoughts and these feelings?
Immediately after people have been raped, the fear that they might be pregnant is a very big one for them. But Gaia hasn't just been raped. She's some years on from the rape, and the thought that she might be pregnant is clearly symbolically linked to the rape, but it's not a rational thought. She must have been psychotic at that point. She was no longer able to work out what was real and what was not real.
Today, the jury has heard evidence about the first emergency calls from Gaia's family. They've learned that despite Gaia being severely ill and distressed, she wasn't judged to be high risk.
The officer that actually made that grading call and graded Gaia as medium risk and not high risk was on the stand today giving his evidence. And he expressed some remorse and regret over that grading. When asked if he would make the same decision again, he said no. He regrets his actions on that day and that's caused him some angst. I suspect that difference in grading could have made a difference to how the search was conducted.
At the inquest, it's emerged that there was just one officer assigned to Gaia's case on the night she disappeared. He didn't alert his supervisor that Gaia was missing. He didn't task the night shift officers to carry out inquiries either. The revelations at the inquest are difficult for Gaia's family.
We were under the impression that everything that could be done was being carried out. We were told that we weren't allowed to leave the house. We needed to be readily available in case we were needed. It made me feel as though they were out there looking for her. A policeman said to me, "We're always 20 steps ahead."
We now know that they didn't look for her in that first hour. I felt like I should have been running behind her and catching up with her. And throughout the whole process, I could not catch up with my sister because of how they carried out the search.
Despite repeated emails, phone calls, and a meeting, Dorset police have refused to take part in this documentary. But I've managed to track down someone who might be able to shed some light on why police failed to respond in the hours after Gaia went missing.
Hi, nice to meet you. How are you?
Martin Underhill is a former Detective Chief Inspector who's now retired, but he was the Police and Crime Commissioner for Dorset at the time of Gaia's disappearance.
I think it was the second day of her being missing that I was made aware that there was a missing person, which was causing concern. I think it was the Deputy Chief Constable who briefed me and said that actually she had started off being a medium risk missing person, which I found very odd. And I challenged the Deputy Chief Constable on that. And he said, we learnt lessons from it, the officer's been spoken to, but misclassifying Guy as a medium risk in your golden hour is just unforgivable. I mean, if you look at her epilepsy, her complaint of rape, her mental plunge, her sectioning, she's high risk all day long. The police should have realised that this is a person in crisis, not a person who's missing. Because if she'd been classed as high risk, you would have had the helicopter up immediately. Then they may have actually found her running to Dancing Ledge. When you add all these things together, I still think Guy could have been found alive.
Like Gaia, so many women who report their rape are mentally unwell as a result of the trauma that they've experienced from the sexual assault. What does that mean for their case?
It means they're disadvantaged from the get-go. There is a complete lack of understanding in the whole criminal justice system about the trauma women face in being raped. I'm convinced that we have institutional misogynistic approaches in both Crown Prosecution Service and the police who don't understand the damage rape does.
The inquest jury has heard that an officer, not assigned to Gaia's case that night, heard of her disappearance on police radio. Concerned for her, he called a contact at the National Police Air Service. They took a helicopter up voluntarily to see if they could help. But by now, it was a full 5 hours after the family's first emergency call had been made.
This is the actual aerial footage that was filmed that night. The helicopter basically has some special equipment on board which can detect signs of life. Anything emitting heat, like a person or an animal, will show up as white. So you can essentially see pockets of hot spots where there may be a sign of life. At 8:44 p.m., 5 hours from Gaia running out of her Aunt Talia's house, they fly over what we now know to be Gaia's final resting place. There is, in fact, a very small white dot.
At the inquest, the flight officer said he believed this was a rock. As it turns out, this hotspot was just meters from where Gaia's body was eventually found.
It's heartbreaking to think she could still be alive in this footage.
At this point, time really was running out for Gaia.
Anyone know who's coordinating?
So we're going to cover as much of this land as possible. Over time, we felt like the police were very chaotic. It was a mess. They pushed and pushed and pushed me to try and think of somewhere where else she would be, and I was thinking, there's nowhere as significant as Dancing Ledge.
Dancing Ledge is a really famous beauty spot. All of our happiest memories kind of all together growing up pretty much involved going to Dancing Ledge.
It was a landmark that was near her grandparents. Somewhere we went for our walks. After our wedding, we all walked to Dancing Ledge. And we often would walk there with the children, have some lovely family time. It's a glorious place. Happy memories.
I mean, we knew she would be here. We knew she would be here, and we told them over and over again that she would be here.
We were told we weren't to go. We were told that we would lead townsfolk near the cliffside, and were told not to go, and I stupidly listened to what they said. I should have defied them.
You know, I just have flashbacks of wishing I'd just put my walking boots on and run up and just shouted her name and been with her. And that breaks my heart as well, because I didn't get to see her. Sorry.
Alone on Dancing Ledge, Gaia's chaotic thoughts were free to take hold.
What do you think made Gaia run on this day?
I think she was running away from herself. I think her experiences were intolerable. She'd been unable to quell her level of anxiety and distress by talking to the police in a way she thought she wanted to. She thought her attacker was imminently arriving and she had to get out.
The final day of the inquest into the death of the Dorset teenager Gaia Pope is due to start. The 19-year-old's body was found on a coastal path in Swanage, a mile from where she was last seen.
The inquest has lasted 3 months and heard evidence from dozens of witnesses. But I still wonder if it's going to give Gaia's family the justice they're hoping for. The jury has found that Gaia's mental state probably caused or contributed to her death, and that her discharge from hospital was a factor in this. The coroner did not allow the jury to decide on whether police failings contributed to Gaia's death, but did say that the police's first response was disorganised and deficient.
We want to begin by thanking everyone who did their absolute best for Gaia. There are no words to express our grief. After one of the longest individual inquests in British history unearthed more than 50 missed opportunities in Gaia's care and the search for her, failings by Dorset Police and Dorset Healthcare Trust. Gaia was also a survivor of child sexual exploitation who was badly failed by the state. It is because so many are that her story speaks to people across the UK, a country where less than 1% of rape reports end in conviction. They failed to take safeguarding action or offer support with continuing harassment from the known child sex offender she had reported for rape and threats to kill. Gaia's story epitomizes all that is wrong with British policing and cuts to the heart of why public confidence has never been so low. She deserved better. All of us do.
At the time they were investigating Gaia's rape allegation, Dorset Police had the lowest rape conviction rate of any police force in the country. In 2015, out of 343 reports of rape, there were only 5 convictions. During the last year, I've been tracking the activities of Connor Hayes and all the opportunities to stop him. If Dorset Police had have joined up the dots between all these girls, these young women, and Gaia's allegations, you have to wonder whether
her story could have been any different. One police report says that detectives made 14 different visits to women, all making allegations against Connor Hayes. They were never joined up.
Connor Hayes denied raping Gaia, and the police said that a year after the attack, there wasn't enough evidence to get a conviction. In 2018, a year after her death, he was jailed again for child sex crimes. I'm taking a letter to his family home to ask him to do an interview. I'm feeling a bit nervous about coming face to face with him. I looked in the windows and it definitely looked lived in, but no one answered the door.
No one home. It's a shame because I was hoping to have some kind of interaction with someone, but, you know.
3 months later, we received a response to the letter. Connor Hayes maintains his innocence and adamantly denies raping Gaia. He also denies sending any threats. He has said he is very sorry for any distress he may have inadvertently caused to anyone he contacted on the internet. Since the inquest, the family has been campaigning for change. The coroner asked the police to train all officers in mental health illnesses. The College of Policing said such training isn't practical because of the large number of medical conditions involved. But it's the laws on rape where the family are focusing their efforts.
One imagines a serial rapist as a very rare thing, but actually, unfortunately, it's not that rare. And the reason is that when you know that you've done it once and you can get away with it so easily, you can do it again and again.
The inquest into Gaia's death unearthed.
The family want to ensure that multiple complaints about a single perpetrator will be joined up and looked at together.
It's so important for police to focus their attention on, you know, those are the most dangerous, really.
After a year of following Gaia's story, I finally understand the chain of events that led her here. Like so many young women who've spoken to me, Gaia was frantically searching for safety.
And just the thought that a 19-year-old girl would be left in a position where this is where she had to come. She stripped off her clothes and buried herself in one of these bushes, and that was where she ultimately lost her life.
She was on her own. She died alone. So that tortures me.
I actually genuinely do just feel lucky to be alive. Because Gaia isn't. And that literally could have been me.
Gaia could have been any of us. That's what I always keep in my head every day, is that Gaia could have been any of us.
You're my river running high, run deep, run wide.
a statement, Dorset Healthcare Trust told us, "While we stand by the clinical assessments made at the time, we acknowledge that we could have done more to help support Gaia's care following her assessment in October 2017. We are sorry that these opportunities were not taken, and we have reflected and learnt from this." Dorset Police said, in December 2015, Gaia Pope made a report of rape. There was insufficient evidence to charge any suspect with the offence, and no further police action was taken. The Independent Office of Police Conduct found that while the police investigation could have been more thorough, any failings by individual officers did not amount to breaches of the professional standards of behaviour. We recognise that as a force, our immediate response to the missing person inquiry should have been better managed. We should have done much better, especially during those first 48 hours, and for this, we are truly sorry.
Hey! Maya! Get off!
Letting go is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I would have done absolutely anything to try and enable her to feel like Gaia again.
And we still have no justice for my daughter. The only purpose and meaning that's left is to hear Gaia's voice and to listen.
Any good, Gaia? Good?